rocking in that chair? Is that a basketball under your desk again? Why is your blazer on? It's 40 degrees outside. Please take it off. Oh, the humming, the humming, the humming, the humming. Oh. But why are you covering your ears? I see some of your faces. That one was specifically for my fellow teachers in arms. Maybe that was you as a child. Maybe in some quiet way it still is. Good evening, distinguished guests, dreamers, believers, and purveyors of the unfinished work of humanity. Collectively, we are the keepers of tomorrow. Tonight, I'd like to start off by saying, pioneering with purpose is to create a world where we see everyone, not just as an equal subject, but as someone as capable of making a difference. Tonight, I start not with a theory, but with a child that the world may call different, difficult, critical. This child doesn't simply enter the room and sit down. This child asks questions. This child is curious. This child notices the pattern of the room and texture before anyone has even realized that the room has a pattern or texture. Sounds ideal, doesn't it? Sounds like a pioneer. It is also often the profile of a neurodivergent child. Neurodivergent. That's quite a big word, isn't it? My name is Khadija Taiba. I'm a teacher, an English educator, very passionate English educator, and I stand before you today with one very important question. Why do our education systems, some of them, favour compliance over curiosity? It's a very heavy-loaded question. Why do we favour compliance over curiosity? I presented this to a colleague yesterday, and I know he's somewhere lurking here in the shadows. And he said to me, well, because curiosity killed the cat. And I really pondered on that, because what it revealed to me is every single perception that we have is shaped by what society believes is important. I want you to picture this. You're 7 years old again. Morning assembly has just finished. It's a real rough one. You've gone back to the classroom. You can hear every single tap from every pencil. The lunchbox lids flicks open. The clock is ticking. Your teacher is talking. The voices around you are amalgamating, and all you can hear is 1,000 pieces. And now everyone is asking you to concentrate. This is just a warning for anyone who has a trigger for frequency. That is a small snippet. I know when I hear it as a neurodivergent person myself, I feel relief. I feel relief. I can exhale when I hear the silence. But this small segment is what it feels like inside the mind of a neurodivergent child if their environment isn't right. I really want that to land, because what seems like muffled noises and an ordinary classroom voice makes a neurodivergent child feel like they are arriving in pieces. It's not that they're defiant. It's not that they don't want to listen to what you have to say, but they are battling a sensory storm before your voice even rises. I want you to think about what all this means. We hear of neurodiversity. We hear of neurodivergence. We hear of neurotypical. But what does it all mean? It's all just technical language. Allow me to use my English teacher expertise here and use the city like our brains as a metaphor for a city. If we were to understand what neurodivergence means, I'll start off with neurotypical brains. Neurotypical brains are our cities that are perfectly established with structure. They are compliant, They are predictable. We know where the traffic lights are. From the outside, it seems like there's order, but it also screams social acceptance. Neurodivergent people, neurodivergent cities. Now, they're the exciting ones. They're the ones that have hidden laneways, overground tunnels. From the outside, it may seem like chaos, but on the inside, there is precision, there is design, there is meaning, there is learning, there is innovation. When we refer as neurodiversity, we mean the landscape at which all of these neurotypical and neurodiverse ideas are underpinned by. How often have we stopped to consider the difference in the way our brains process information? As an educator, I can promise you that sitting in our classroom right now, that one child that seems defiant is the leader of tomorrow. That one child that will not accept things at face value is the one that is going to be the critic, the innovator, the creator. But as individuals and as adults, and I'm speaking from personal experience as a teacher, we need to open the door. We need to create the leverage. We need to create the systems that say, I see you, I hear you. I will use my leverage as an adult to widen the door. I will accept you as you are, and I will give you the pedestal to thrive. As an English teacher, I would always pride myself on teaching students to read between the lines. Inference. What does the text say? But what is this really telling us? What is the allegory showing us? Read between the lines, think critically, interpret it. I thought I was capable and ready to equip our students about the human condition. But then the universe decided to give me a true taste of humble pie because I became the mother of a neurodivergent child who was heavily misunderstood by almost everyone he met. Now my son, he's 7 years old, he's autistic, he's got ADHD, and he's classified as level 2. He's funny, he is intense, he is passionate, he is relentless. He will not settle for no as an answer. He questions the rules. He is perfectly human. And being the mother of a neurodivergent child and being an educator taught me something really valuable. And it's that we can be vulnerable and still seem like we're doing just fine. We can be academically challenging, but still be masking. And we can still have a pioneer mind and still require an adult to hold the door open. In the scope of things, I reflect on my practice as an English teacher. What would it mean for me? How do I have the leverage as an adult to take the soul of a child who I see every single day? And when I refer to learners, I actually call them my children. And I know a lot of teachers sitting here with us tonight will actually call their students their children. After all, we see them 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40 weeks in a year. That's a rough 1,330 hours with any individual child. And sometimes we're seeing them from K to 12. A poignant question for the parents in the room today. How many of us can honestly say we have invested that many hours into understanding the way the brains of our children work? Tonight, when I think about pioneering with purpose, I think about how will we use our status as educators to see beyond the diagnosis? How will we learn to see the child in the way they thrive? How will we create systems that finally say, I'm not interested in compliance, I am interested in curiosity? After all, isn't that what innovators are made of? Curiosity, critical thinking, not afraid to dive deep and question what society is afraid to question. It's about building bridges. As a teacher, the buzzword is differentiation. Have you differentiated? Have you annotated your program with differentiation? But what does differentiation actually mean? When teachers are burnt out and they're trying to cater for 30 different students in the class. Quite simply, differentiation is building a bridge and creating access to learning. It is saying, I understand that you might be required to read a poem today, but some of you might need a visual cue. Some of you might need a scaffold. Some of you might need to talk about it again at recess. As an educator, I can pioneer my space by saying you are worthy enough of my time. I will give you access. I may have power, I may have authority, but I will not shrink who you are. I will give you the pedestal. I will allow you to perform. A very inspirational story for me, and some of you may have watched the film of Temple Grandin. I want to take you back to, if you can imagine, 1950s Massachusetts. In the 1950s, autism was not even classified as a neurodiverse or a neurodevelopmental disorder or condition. In the 1950s, if you had autism, you were classified as being a schizophrenic and would have most likely been confined to an insane asylum. So you have Temple Grandin, also female. She couldn't reach the milestones the way everyone else did, but her mother chose possibility. Her mother refused to give up, and that's where our leverage as adults come in. When she finally got an education and her mother was relentless in her pursuit, she realized that she had a gift that nobody else had. What came across as her sensory profile, her sensory processing disorder, was actually the tool that made her exceptional, because she could create systems for animals that were so humane because she was reflecting on her own fear. She was reflecting on what she saw, what she needed, and she replicated that. Today, she is Professor and Dr. Temple Grandin. When we talk about neurodivergence, we're also talking about ADHD. There are wonderful thinkers that do not stop. We have 50 tabs open at any given time, and we do not intend on closing them anytime soon. We're talking about our wonderful dyslexic kids, and I'm so fortunate enough to work with dyslexic teachers who may not read the right order of the words, but say, I will not stop until I understand. It's our kids with sensory processing disorder who are fighting sensory storms but still show up. It's all the advocates in education that say, all of you are worthy recipients of education because this is what is humanity, and this is what pioneers of purpose are made of. Today, if I leave you with anything, I want to leave you with the question, does the system that you have created in your workplace or in your home consist and prioritize compliance over curiosity? And if it does, why so? After all, if we're serious about pioneering with purpose and building an education and future worthy of humanity, doesn't that mean that we're ready to say, I'm ready to give access? Our critical thinkers and our innovators are going to be made from the minds of these. I know where I stand in my pursuit. How about you?